Though our horses speed us toward the supply tent where we are supposed to collect Walter's group, Levi, Ollie, and I can only watch as helplessly as a trio of newborns as the female Reaver battles Walter just inside the tent. As little as I like the man, I admire how brutally he fights. He even manages to hold her off so the rest of the group can escape. They fight at the edge of the open supply tent in the mud, while the rest of the group flees toward the forest, past the trench on the west side of Somerset. I spy Moses struggling with a small barrel on his shoulder and Caleb limping along as quickly as he can, arms full of fabric, trying his best to keep up with the rest. Behind me in the trenches are the battle screams of men stabbing each other to death.
I think Walter's got things under control. Come on, we have to grab everything we can reasonably carry.
I didn't think it possible to best a Reaver, but Walter certainly seems to be holding his own. She slices her saber at Walter, but he dodges the swipe. They strike so quickly that I struggle to follow their movements. They're like dancers at a fancy ballet, except instead of an orchestra, the soundscape of their dance is the blaring of horns and battle drums. She gets a few strikes in and unloads her gun at Walter, who dives behind a crate. Incredibly, each shot misses, but Walter surprises me, and the Reaver evidently, by punching a crate in her direction. The surprise gives him an opening. He leaps at her, pins her to the ground, and begins choking her in the same way the Senecan choked me. I breathe a sigh of relief. For all my talk with Levi about doing whatever it takes, I doubt that I could actually take a human life. I've managed to survive so far without directly crossing that line. Levi and Walter want me to kill this woman and others like her. I'm not sure I know how. I'm not even sure I could. Besides, this woman is not just any Calican. She's a black-gloved Reaver. Having been on the receiving end of asphyxiation, there's no way I could do what Walter is doing now to the woman. His eyes widen and his mouth seems frozen in a devious grin. Does he enjoy this? I thank the seasons I'm not a callous monster like him. The woman slaps at him ineffectively, her strength failing.
Nolan, let's go.
Levi's voice pulls me back to the moment. My mare expels an annoyed grunt as I spur her into movement. I lean forward in the saddle, and just as she's really picking up steam, I hear Walter's scream, and a chill runs up my spine. Red flecks fringe my vision. Beside me, Levi staggers and has to grab his horse's mane to stay upright. Instinctively, my vision swings back toward the fight. Everything happens so fast. The Reaver raises her weapon and points it at the Group 13 members fleeing for the cover of the forest. Moses leads them, and each carries armloads of supplies that slow them down. Lagging severely behind them, Caleb. The flecks in my field of view swell and become larger, taking over the whole of my sight and bathing the moment in an obscene red glow. The Reaver fires her weapon. A loud clap. A puff of smoke. Caleb drops to the ground.
No!
I cry, as if that will save him. He's too far away. I cannot tell where he was hit. The 10 more souls, led by Moses, who struggles with a powder keg on his shoulder, continue to run, not daring a glance behind. Somehow, the sound that escapes my throat is able to do what the singular shot could not do for me. It pierces the din of the battle. The Reaver woman spins and we lock eyes. I kick my Swansons into my horse's sides. She whinnies and bolts toward the Reaver, and I can hear Levi's mount following close behind. This will be the 3rd time I have seen this woman. In our first encounter, I watched as she dismantled both conscript and soldier like she was sweeping a porch. In our second encounter, I experienced what it was like to be dismantled myself. Despite that, I can't say I've ever truly gotten a great look at her. Something has always prevented me from looking her dead in the eye. But now, bearing down on her on horseback, this is perhaps the clearest I've ever seen her. Her black hair is tied tight but shows where Walter abused her scalp. I've known her face is angular and fair, but now it is covered in blood, dirt, and strands of hair. Her nose has been broken, but I'm sure it's not the first time. Her duster has been thrown off in the fight with Walter, and her plain white shirt is covered in mud as if she herself were a conscript. But one thing is clear. Anger radiates from the woman. Pure, unadulterated rage. Pain means nothing to her. She's likely already forgotten about her gashed forehead and broken nose. She raises her weapon, steadying its barrel on her other forearm. I'm her next target. There's nowhere to run because the beast beneath me brings me closer to the bullets she's about to fire. I look over my shoulder to Levi, hoping for some order or command or word of advice for dealing with our foe, but to my surprise, I realize he's gone. His horse runs behind mine, but there is no rider, no sign of his body on the field either. My eyes sail back toward the black-gloved woman, wincing at the expected shot. Instead of a barrel aimed between my eyes, I spy Levi behind the woman, his hand on the back of her neck. Her ruined face is aghast with surprise. How? How did he just leap 30 fathoms in the blink of an eye? That same chill I felt a moment ago finds its way back to my spine again. I shudder and pull up the reins on my horse, slowing her to a canter. Levi grins and seems to put every bit of strength into the arm holding the back of her neck, slamming her head into the ground with such violence that I wince from the sight. The Reaver is unconscious or dead because she does not stir from the mud. Levi stands over her, breathing heavily. My mind can't process how it happened. It's like he disappeared and reappeared before I could blink. Was that what Walter was doing in his fight? When we reach Levi, Ollie brings his horse to an abrupt stop and catches the reins of Levi's, but I continue on, desperate to get to Caleb. As I rush past, I can see Levi is in the process of picking up Walter from his stupor, no doubt planning to deliver him into the saddle of the colonel's former horse. My mind is overcome with worry. Caleb hasn't moved from his spot since being shot. I skid my horse to a stop and dismount. I slide next to my friend, saying, "Caleb, come on, we're getting out of here." Caleb says nothing, makes no indication he hears me. When I touch the man's shoulder, I realize the words are for only myself. I roll him over and can't miss the seeping red stain on the right side of his ivory shirt. His teeth are gritted, and he won't look at me. Warwick. I need to get him to Warwick. He's the only person that can save him. I position his body so that I can pick him up and put him in the saddle. I find him surprisingly light, and his teeth are no longer gritted. Instead, his mouth hangs open in the shape of an O. After I throw him atop the horse, I notice the blood stains from his flank cover my sleeve. Caleb's wound is dire. I need to hurry. I haul myself into the saddle and kick fiercely, then we're in motion. "We're 10 minutes out from the rendezvous point, Caleb!" I shout over the sound of the gallop and firepower. The reality is I have no idea how far away we are from Warwick. On a whim, I look behind and see that Ollie is helping Levi get Walter into the saddle of the colonel's horse. The downed Reaver doesn't stir. Levi surely killed her. "Caleb, you're gonna be all right. You hear me?" Still, he says nothing. I place one of my hands on his chest, hoping to feel a steady heartbeat, but find it too difficult to sense while the black mare bounds over the field. We fly past Moses and the men who run with him. Some of them curse at me for not stopping. Levi and Ollie will stop for them. Caleb cannot wait. By the time we reach the rendezvous point on the outskirts of the woods west of Somerset, I can see Warwick pacing impatiently among a small group of men. He has the look of a man who's debating the merits of simply fleeing the battlefield entirely and leaving those of us left behind to our fate. Roughly half of the men in Group 13 were placed under his care, and technically, with the Calicans so occupied in the trenches, he really could flee. It says something about his character and loyalty that despite being given freedom, he stays behind and waits for his kappa. The moment he sees me rushing toward him, he hollers at the men surrounding him to clear a path. "Help me, Warwick! Caleb's been shot!" Once again, my horse skids to a stop. Warwick has already ordered a pair of men who I haven't seen before to convey Caleb down off the horse. They do so with a grace and gentleness that impresses me. A wave of relief laps at my body. I did it. Caleb is going to live. We're going to laugh about this tomorrow as free men. Climbing from my horse to join the small crowd, Warwick jars me out of the revelry.
"Give me space to work, Nolan," he says. "This is bad."
Warwick rips Caleb's shirt open, revealing a pale, emaciated figure with a circular wound gushing blood on his right flank. Warwick brings a hand to Caleb's neck. Why is Warwick bothering with his neck? Doesn't he see the wound in his side? Shouldn't we stop the bleeding? I say to him, frantic with fear. Warwick simply stops and looks to me gloomily.
"I'm sorry, Nolan. He's gone."
No. I grab Caleb's shoulder, trying to shake the life back into him. But he's a rag doll. Caleb, the only light in the darkness of war. The Reaver killed him. He had no last words. Just this emptiness in my chest. A hand rests on my shoulder. "I'm sorry, Nolan." But it isn't Warwick's voice. Rather, it's the shrill, nasal voice I never wanted to hear again. Peter's. What? How? The look I give the man causes him to retract his hand and back away, frightened. The harsh sound of hoofbeats precedes Ollie and Levi's arrival. As soon as he enters the clearing, Levi says,
"Warwick, Walter is hurt. He needs help."
The Kappa darts down from his horse and helps Walter down from the saddle and over to the shade of a nearby tree. He lays the man down, turns and locks eyes with the thief and a stout man standing next to him.
"Ollie, Simeon, take all 4 horses and go help Moses and the boys with that black powder. The moment they reach the clearing, we need to be in the wind."
You got it, Kappa. Ollie and Simeon reply in unison, the two of them deftly wielding 4 sets of reins and charging off back toward the remaining men. With Warwick tending to Walter, Levi approaches me to inspect Caleb. Our eyes meet, and he sees the pain in mine. He kneels with me and puts his hand at the back of my neck. The gesture is fatherly, kind. For the first time, I feel like I glimpse Levi the person as opposed to Levi the leader.
"Caleb was a good man. We'll make them pay, Nolan. We'll find your family, I promise."
Tears fill my eyes. I should be happier. I'm free. So why do I feel so hollow? Is it because of fear? Is it the knowledge that there's still work to do? No, it's something deeper, something more primal. I look upon the lifeless body of my friend and my mind pictures my wife in this state, my daughter. Do I even want to bring them back to a world that has such horror, such loss in it? Levi must sense the inferno of emotions roiling inside me because he doubles down on his words.
"Nolan, listen to me. We're going to find them. You have my word. But I need you, Nolan. As surely as you need me. Together, we're going to take back what is ours, yeah?"
I nod, tears still present. Levi gives the back of my neck a squeeze before standing up and transforming back into Levi, the Kappa.
"Warwick, is Walter able to travel?"
Levi asks. I sink into my feelings and the sounds of the men seem to fade. Even the explosions from the battle seem far off. Around me stands a copse of ash and maple trees, their leaves having just begun their change from green to red, orange, yellow, and brown. The copse opens on its western side to reveal that we are atop a hillock. Before us stretches the rolling hills and scattered forests of Seneca, just barely visible in the early morning light. It's cold, but a few birds are awake, chirping and singing, ignorant of the battle taking place not a league distant. Or perhaps they sing in spite of the noise the battle casts over the valley. Mist clings to the lowlands, and I can see the silhouette of at least one farmhouse on a distant bare hilltop. My breath curls in white vapors as it leaves my nose and mouth. My cheeks feel cold and wet, and I realize that I have been weeping.
Sebastian!
A voice booms from the meadow behind me. Moses arrives with the rest of Group 13 in tow, his face split with glee. The keg of gunpowder drops to the ground with a loud thud, and he advances on a man only slightly smaller than himself with open arms. I recognize Sebastian now. He's one of the men Levi traded for Caleb and me. Levi suddenly twists to Warwick. The former doctor looks up from wrapping Walter's head in rags.
About that,
He says sheepishly.
I might have collected more than just the spare weapons we hid away before coming here.
Levi turns toward the tree line of the forest, and we all realize that there are a lot more than the 24 men in Group 13. Even Levi is in shock as dozens of pairs of eyes look back at us, their owners shifting about worriedly.
How many did you free?
Levi asks, awe dancing across his face.
Only those that weren't already chained. Some wouldn't come with us, but once Sebastian convinced Group 11 to follow, many others took the chance. I was in the process of getting an accurate headcount before Nolan, you, and Ollie arrived. I'd gotten as high as 40, but I think there's more. A whole lot more.
Levi looks on at the new additions to the escape crew, and a smile cuts across his face. He squeezes Warwick's shoulder the way a proud father would, and the doctor beams in response. Levi strides over to a nearby stump and hops up. The newly freed men instinctively gather around him.
Do you see that?
Levi points eastward past the battle we just left as the sun breaks over the distant horizon, lighting up the hills and valleys around us.
I want you to remember this sunrise. It is the dawn of our first day as free men.
His words exude hope, and his puffed-out chest bellies the confidence he feels. Men nod in response, grinning uncontrollably at the realization of their freedom. The moment is too much for some, and they weep openly, tears of joy creating rivulets down their cheeks. Levi holds up a cautious hand and continues.
But our work is far from done. This is also the first dawn of winter. The days are going to get colder. Food and medicine are going to quickly run out. It's only a matter of time before the Calicans resupply and send troops after us, or before we run into another Calican army on its way to burn down another city. If those facts make you afraid, then good. You've been paying attention,
Levi says, then pauses for effect.
We're little more than a band of outlaws with no allies, 100,000 enemies, and a wilderness ahead of us. If we were to disband, to simply fade away into the forest and go our separate ways, then we would be picked off one by one, whether by Calican chains or Senecan bullets, whether by starvation or disease, whether by freezing or falling or fucking up, we would all eventually be dead.
Silence, as a few dozen men hold their breath without realizing it. Even the birds seem to recognize the crescendo Levi builds toward and have stopped their chirping.
But if we stay together, if we fight together, if we band together as one, then nothing can stand in our way.
The men erupt into a cheer that sends goosebumps all over my body. I, too, can't help but cry out as a mixture of despair and hope flows out of me. I'm sorry, Caleb. I'm sorry that you won't come with us. I rest my hand on his silent chest. Sarah, Emily, I am coming for you. Just endure for a little while longer, my loves.